My video for August 23rd, 2018, which is video number 2824, asks a question. What if God were one of us? Yes, that's the title song of a song by Joan Osborne. It's available on YouTube. To me, it's a most poignant question. We have been told that a day with God is as 1,000 years for us. What a cop-out. For humans, 1,000 years is multiple lifetimes based on the idea of reincarnation. For most, those lifetimes are totally disconnected. There is no way we can learn anything or make any significant changes if we routinely forget our past lives. I'm reminded of the cliché, only one life will soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. The instances where children have vivid and verifiable memories of the previous life are incontrovertible. Any online search will reveal some amazing stories along this line. Then there are stories where people actually died and came back, retaining full memory of the other side. These are life-changing. For me, I admit that I know very little about the divine, even though I thought I had a relationship most of my life. If God were really one, or perhaps all of us, he or she would certainly see our dilemma. As I keep asking, where's the love? I took time last night to listen to Donald Trump at his rally in West Virginia. And he's pushing the idea that a vote for Republicans is going to somehow change the direction of the country. And I do admit that there, at least on the surface, appears to be some significant changes between the ideas that were being pushed by Hillary and Obama and others, even Republicans, Bush, the Bushes, etc., do not seem to be in humanity's best interest. They seem to be part of a dark agenda to totally control humanity and take out all the useless eaters that don't serve the money interests and the control interests of the cabal. You keep hearing me say that. This is something that we need to pay attention to. But I don't think Donald Trump is necessarily the answer, even though I would like to see the republic restored. Republic and Republican Party are not necessarily the same thing, or at least they have not been for the past century or more. I'd like to see proof that changes are really happening. And some say, well, look at Trump. There's the proof. Again, I listened to him last night, and I've listened to his rhetoric over a period of time. I have friends that are very strong Trump supporters. I have others that, like me, doubt his truthfulness. He's been part of the establishment, and I don't think he could have been elected president if he was not part of the establishment. Now, the establishment seems to be presenting two different faces, but the faces are, as I see it, still allowing the control grid to go on, where humanity is no longer free. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about reincarnation, though, because as some of you know, there's a man named David Wilcock who claims to be the reincarnation of another famous individual previous to David's lifetime, named Edgar Casey. And Edgar Casey claimed to be, or was said to be, a part of the Egyptian mystique back when the pyramids were built and things like that. I don't know if any of that is true, but Casey did make some predictions that were, as I see it, very significant, and many people were helped by his readings. And I like David Wilcock in that he does quite a bit of research and puts out a lot of information that is worth consideration. And I have spent multiple hours listening to and going through some of his materials as well as Edgar Cayce materials. In fact, the books that you see behind me, many of the ones that I kept, I don't think I discarded any books by Edgar Cayce or about Edgar Cayce. I still have them in my library, which of course I had to thin out when my home was taken. But be that as it may, I want to feel that my life has had meaning and purpose. And with some of the symptoms that I've been noticing physically of late, I am challenged to wonder how much longer I'm going to have. I really don't know. There were instances in my genealogy going back. I mean, I remember one of my great uncles who was helping one of the neighborhood children, and he felt discomforted and sat down on a stump or whatever and died. Just like that. He was gone. And I was taken to school by another great uncle one day. And when I came home from school, they told me he died that day. He drove me to school. And the same day, he went to the other, whatever the other side is. What's the meaning? What's the purpose of this? Yes, life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. That's a Shakespeare quote, supposedly. But there has to be more. There has to be real meaning, real purpose, doesn't there? Is it all just a crazy game that means absolutely nothing? I don't accept that answer. I want my life to be more meaningful. I'd like there to be real significance to the contribution that I try my best to make, to get people to think outside the box and to try to grasp a bigger picture than just the narrow picture of one lifetime. I'd like to leave a legacy when I go, that Ron was willing to think outside the box and willing to challenge preconceived, commonly accepted ideas of religious truth. There is only one spiritual truth, again, and that is love. If God were really one of us, why does God have such a horrible time loving? There are people that really do love. I'm one of them, as best I can be. And there are lots of us. But then there are those that seem to be in charge, and they obviously are clueless about loving. They don't care about human life, or animal life, or plant life, or the life of the planet. They pollute. They destroy. They incite wars. Everything is a game that is based on control and money. And it's a sick game. When are we going to see real change? When is God going to take responsibility for creation? Thank you for listening, and namaste.